If you're a business leader, you know the pressure is always on. Cut costs, protect that bottom line. But what if the most common way of doing that, the quick, across the board slash, is actually sabotaging your profit in the long run? Well, let's explore a smarter way to think about savings. So let me ask you something. When things get tight and you have to reduce operating costs, what's your first move? What's that knee-jerk reaction? Is it a quick fix or is it something more strategic? Honestly, that choice is at the heart of everything we're about to talk about. All right, let's dive right into the most common approach and its pitfalls. I'm talking about slashing. We've all been there, right? The mandate comes down, cut everything by 10%. Let's unpack why that seemingly decisive move so often does more harm than good. It's the classic reaction. Make these big, reactive cuts everywhere. It feels decisive, it looks like you're taking immediate action, and hey, it promises some instant results on the spreadsheet. But the savings it creates, well, they're often just an illusion. And that brings us to this idea of superficial savings. Think of them as the low-hanging fruit. They're super easy to grab, but they're just a temporary patch. They do absolutely nothing to fix the deeper, core inefficiencies that are the real drain on your profit. And here's where it gets really ugly. This slide lays out the true cost of those so-called easy cuts. You're not just hurting morale, you're breaking trust with your team. And that temporary financial relief, poof, it vanishes because you haven't actually fixed anything. You fail to create any long-term value, and worst of all, you can mess with the very core operations that actually make you money. Okay, so if slashing is the wrong move, what's the right one? Let's talk about a smarter way. This isn't about using a chainsaw. It's about using a scalpel. It's about being strategic, precise, and really focused on the long-term health of your business. The whole thing really boils down to a shift in mindset. We're moving away from that reactive kind of chaotic world of cost cutting and stepping into the deliberate, strategic world of cost governance. It's about taking control, not just taking an axe to your budget. And this is the real gold we're digging for, structural savings. These are the deep, sustainable savings hidden in the very foundation of your business. I'm talking about things like vendor contracts for your utilities, telecom, waste removal, all those recurring expenses. These are areas where you can find huge savings without firing a single person or sacrificing quality.
So how do you find these savings? It's not magic, it's a method. It's a pretty straightforward three-step process. First, you do a deep dive analysis of all those recurring contracts. Second, you pinpoint the opportunities, things like billing errors, outdated plans, or just better terms you could be getting. And finally, you implement these changes in a way that creates savings while protecting what really matters, your people and your operations.
Okay, so we've got two totally different philosophies here, right? The reactive axe versus the strategic magnifying glass. Let's put them side by side and see how they really stack up when it comes to the results. I mean, this table just makes it crystal clear. Reactive slashing, that's all about fast, superficial cuts. But diagnostic governance, it's about structural, long-term value. One path damages morale and destroys trust. The other protects your team and shows them they're valued. And the result, slashing gives you this fleeting moment of relief, while governance gives you lasting protection for your profits. It's a no-brainer. So when you zoom out and look at the long-term impact on the business, it's not even a fair fight. The diagnostic approach doesn't just save a little money here and there, it strengthens the entire business from the inside out. It creates a high, positive impact that you'll be feeling for years to come. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but is it actually right for my business? That's a fair question. Let's look at the kinds of organizations that really stand to gain the most from this kind of strategic approach. Honestly, this approach is a total game changer for businesses that have a lot of operational complexity. So think multi-location businesses, healthcare systems, hotels, really any company that has significant recurring contracts for things like utilities, telecom, and supplies. If that sounds like you are probably sitting on a goldmine of potential savings. And generally speaking, we see this delivering the biggest punch for companies with over $2 million in annual revenue. Why? Because at that scale, all those little inefficiencies in your foundational contracts really start to add up. Optimizing them can have a massive impact on your bottom line. This quote really says it all. This is the fundamental shift in thinking we're talking about. It's about moving from being a firefighter, constantly putting out budget fires, to being an architect, building a stronger, more profitable, and more resilient financial structure for your business. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Take a good, hard look at your own approach to reducing costs. Is it just a short-term reaction, or is it a real, long-term strategy? Is your plan built to protect your profits for this quarter, or is it designed to secure them for the next decade? The answer? Well, it could change everything.